The Bear Essentials podcast gives older bears a place to gather for real talk regarding topics and issues that they can relate to. Here at The Bear Essentials, we aren't just having conversations. We are looking to provide actionable intelligence through real-life experience and expertise of our guests. Our mission is to build a strong community that elevates and motivates people to go beyond their limiting beliefs by helping them realize that getting older is not an excuse to hibernate on their goals, but a reason to work harder.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Charles Wallace. Today's guest is a fitness coach, an elite level athlete, and he has built his reputation by training celebrities, professional athletes, and is the only coach to have trained every branch of the U.S. military. So please, without further ado, let's welcome T Major to the show. But first, a word from our sponsor. Wolfinger Consulting, experts who have achieved real results for their clients, including complying efficiently and successfully with overwhelming discovery orders, passing difficult third-party security audits, and deploying bleeding-edge technology platforms to control and preserve corporate information. Let them show you what Wolfinger Consulting can do for you. Be sure to check out their webpage at wolfingerforensics.com. Hey, T, how you doing? Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
What's up, Charles? No problem, man. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to get a chance to get on the screen and talk for a little bit.
And I always love doing these because I was pretty blown away when I realized that you were actually based out of Berlin over in Germany there. So I always think that's cool that myself sitting here in Philadelphia in the United States and just we're together right now on this screen. So I think that's great what technology can do to help bring us together. That being said, though, I've always had some interest over the last few years of speaking with you. So thank you for that. My audience, I'm going to let you do a little introduction of yourself right now.
Yeah. First of all, I can second that. Technology, at least for the short amount of time that you and I have been alive, has exponentially changed everything, right? I mean, I was pretty much blown away back in, I think, the early 2000s when the iPhone came out. I was like, wow, this is a game changer. Things will never be the same. And that was an accurate statement. But now with the invention of like AI really exploding and ChatGPT and all of these tools that are coming onto the scene, I think we're living in a very, very cool and interesting time. And yeah, like you said, the ability for us to be on different parts of the world and just to sync up with a click of a link and be able to have this conversation like we're in the same room is also pretty cool. So yeah, to just a quick introduction about me. My name is T Major. Been making content online since 2008 when I started my first business. I've been a lifelong athlete. I played 5 sports in high school, ended up getting a college scholarship to play football in the Northeast. Actually, I went to Bryant University. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's up in Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky that they recruited me because I didn't know about the school. I didn't know what I wanted to study going into college and university, but I ended up going to a business university and a quite good one. So that kind of sparked the interest early on to get into business, marketing, communication, all of these things I studied in school. And when I graduated, I ended up going into sales, actually. I did that for a short amount of time. I figured out pretty early on that wasn't my passion. I was always the first guy in the weight room, last one to leave. I knew I wanted to do something with health and fitness. I just had no idea what. But in 2008, I was pretty much already burnt out. So I cashed out my 401k, started T Major Fitness, and the rest pretty much brought me to you. In between 2008 and now, I've trained small women, children, pregnant women, military, professional athletes, young athletes, amateurs, celebrities, models. I've pretty much run it all when it comes to the fitness creator businesses. And yeah, now I'm based in Berlin, Germany. My family is here. I have 2 small kids. And I'm running a small private studio called the Sqwod Pod here. Maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. And my fitness app called Sqwod, in addition to my social media channels.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what you have going on. And I'm going to be honest, what drew me to you, and people that watch the show and listen, they've heard me kind of talk about my journey, but that's where I kind of saw you. It was like, as you probably know, when you train people, I was at a point where any type of content revolving around fitness that could give me an idea to improve my life was something of interest to me. And I remember probably 2, 3 years ago, I would see these videos and it was you, and it was the stuff you were doing just with your body weight. And at the time, that's probably all I could handle was body weight, right? But some of the things you were doing were so incredible. And I kind of want to start there because I think what you're doing really, really well is not only the fitness perspective, but your content is, to me, some of the best I've seen. So, when you do your content, how do you kind of get that blend of I want this content to be poignant and really have a impact, but I still need to stay true to the goal of the fitness aspect of it?
Yeah. Very cool. First of all, thank you for the kind words. To get this feedback that my content is resonating with you and that it's making some impact is great. We don't often get that, right? I mean, when we're staring at the screen, you get this feedback through other data points, through likes, through engagement. But to hear somebody really say, like, I think your content is great, it really resonates with me, and this is something actionable, and there's actual value in there that I'm getting from it, and this is continuous, it's something that I continue to get value from, is exactly the impact that I wanted to make. And I don't know if you know, but there was a long period of time where I was silent on social media. And it was because of a couple of different reasons. One is because I felt like I was consuming more than I was creating, actually. And it was taking up so much energy. It wasn't filling my cup. It was just really draining. That in conjunction with the pressure of having to create on a continual basis, it was burning me out, and this is a reoccurring theme in my life. I have one speed, and it's all the way, right? So when I had this sales job, I burnt myself out really quickly because it was a 5 before 9. It was a 5 after 5, knocking on doors, cold calls. In between that day, trying to do too much. So to your question, how do I continue now to create content that stays true to my mission and my goal and something, and hopefully resonates with my following? This time around, when I got back to creating content, I came with a very strategic and specific strategy. One thing I do know is that it doesn't have to be jumping jacks all the time on screen. And that was a mistake I was making in the past. I was thinking that everybody wanted to consume these fitness videos because that's what was working for me in the past, right? I had the viral video, the 44 best body weight exercises ever. Huge success. And once you get a taste of that kind of success, you want to recreate it however you can, right? So it was fitness video, always coming out, trying to find the new exercise, the new movement, what can shock and awe people. But now I'm 40 years old now. I'm not going to get out there and do backflip burpees all the time just to try to impress my following. I actually want to deliver value and impact. So I sat down and I came up with my strategy, which was this. What do I enjoy speaking about? And try to keep that simple, right? So I like the power of threes. So I said, I'm going to have 3 content pillars. Most people struggle with health, wealth, and relationships, right? I can really help in the health realm. And so sticking with that, let's break that down into 3 content pillars. I want to talk about fitness. I want to talk about fitness business. And I want to talk about mindset and motivation for both of those topics. So those are my 3 content pillars that I speak about. And if you look at all my content, you'll see that it follows all along. I'm always talking about how you can get better at doing something that you have a problem with. So hopefully I'm helping you to solve a problem in fitness. I'm speaking about my entrepreneurial journey. How can I help you solve a problem there? And then I'm also talking about my struggles with trying to stay motivated and focused on doing those tasks. And most people have those same problems. Some people are at different stages of that, right? Some people are 2 steps behind you, 10 steps behind you. Some people are in the exact same place you are. And then also there's some people that are way ahead of you, but it doesn't mean that you can't speak to all 3 of those people in different stages. So out of those 3 content pillars, I break those down into smaller subcategories. And that's when the content creation gets easy, right? when you start saying like, okay, I'm going to talk about fitness, what falls underneath fitness? There's fitness, there's nutrition, there's sleep, there's and then there's everything underneath that, right? Underneath nutrition, you have intermittent fasting, you have carb loading, you have all of these different techniques that you can speak about. So they can be broken down into other categories. So for me, once I started to look at it that way, content creation became pretty easy, at least to formulate ideas. Once I came up with the ideas to talk about, my process starts with writing. And that's also something that's really changed. The first thing I focus on is writing a high impact newsletter, which I then also send out via my I also post on my website as a blog. And that is the cornerstone of all of my content. From there, I can write tweets. I can come up with captions for Instagram. I can come up with ideas for exercises. I can link out to those things. So that's kind of my strategy in a huge nutshell.
It's funny as I listen to you talk though, as you were speaking, I was envisioning some of your content that I've consumed over the past. And see, honestly, you're very thoughtful in your approach. And I think it comes through in your content. And I think that's probably why someone like me, without even realizing it, probably gravitated to some of the content and making me want to reach out to you. So it was, I don't think I really ever spoke to anybody about, I'll have fitness people on, their content creators. I think that's the first time I've really spoken about it from that perspective. And it was interesting to hear for myself, even being, creating content, and when you talk about the pillars and you start to mention some of the pillars in fitness, I feel like not just with content, T, is that how you kind of approach your life? Is it kind of broken out the same way in these pillars? Is that your approach?
Yeah, like I'm a very one-track mind kind of guy. I get tunnel vision very easily. Like I said, I'm full speed ahead, but usually that's on one particular task. I can multitask. It's one of my skills that I've developed over the years. I've had to work very hard at that, but I don't enjoy it. I like tackling one thing at a time. And so most of my life is the process of, I call it Kaizen. It's my philosophy on life. It's my philosophy on training. I apply it to everything. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement. If you're not familiar with it, it was developed by actually an American who brought it over and applied it to the Toyota Corporation after World War II, when Japan needed to rebuild itself. He was somebody that they tapped into at the Toyota Corporation to sort of streamline their processes. And it's a very simple philosophy of taking complex tasks and breaking them down into smaller goals and not moving on to the next task until you completely finish and master that first task. So if it's building a car, you have to learn how to put a tire together first before you build the rest of the car. If you're working on the doors, master learning how to build a door, and then we're going to cross-train you on other parts of the process so that everything sort of works in synergy, but everything is done to a very high quality. And this is how I approach everything, my training, when I'm trying to learn a new skill, when I'm building new websites, or when I'm creating content. So I'll start with writing that long newsletter, like I said, but then once I'm done and I brain dumped onto the page, I break it up, right? I break it up into tweets. I break it up into tweet threads, into small captions. I go through line by line and I do my editing and say, does this make sense to the reader, right? Because this is who I'm writing for. So everything is really done to simplify things for myself and for others.
Man, you're speaking my language. The Kaizen, in my professional life, we use it a lot.
Great.
So hearing you speak about it, I enjoy that myself. Let's talk about that a little bit though, that approach. If you, from a training perspective, you have someone come to you, how do you kind of start to do that with somebody who you're trying to almost build them from the ground up, so to speak? How's that process work?
Yeah, that's great. It's how I approach a lot of my clients, actually. Of course, the bulk of my clients are professional athletes. The bulk of them, whether it's a lot of my online followers or the people that I train in person, they're starting from scratch. Most of them are at the point in their journey where they need help. And usually when the people reach out to you and they need help, is because their struggle is real, right? Like, it's not easy actually to go out. At least I know it's not easy to knock on somebody's door and say, you know what, I'm going to toss a bunch of money at you because I can't figure this out on my own. I need help. And so when they do that, the whole process starts from there, right? Like, what is your struggle? What are your routines? What does that look like? What is your ultimate goal? Most people have this huge lofty goal, or they have no goal at all. So I help them with envisioning what their goal is, because you have to understand your why of why you're training. Because one thing that I say all the time is motivation is a myth, because motivation comes and goes, right? It's something that it's fickle. But discipline is something that's very, very real. And this is what can stand in the place of motivation when motivation wanes. So we cover a lot of those mindset topics first. I try to dig into the brain of the person I'm dealing with before I even get them moving. But then once I get them moving, the first thing I always start with is a dynamic warm-up. My dynamic warm-up is a series of plyometrics and dynamic movements, which incorporates stretches and some light jumping and things like this. Usually when I get through those 12 to 15 movements, I can have a pretty good understanding of the fitness level of the person I'm dealing with. But it also does something for them. It shows them a very clear framework, right? I tell them in the beginning, this is something that you're going to do every day. This is something that you're going to have to learn. So pay attention to the movements and what you're doing. And when you give somebody a task like that, most of the time they're up for the challenge, right? Like, think about when you start a new job and they go, this is really important. This is how you are going to log into your system every single day. Pay attention to the steps. You're really focused on that and you're really paying attention. Even if you don't remember all the steps, at least you're tuned in. And most of the time when people come to a personal trainer, they're completely tuned out because they have somebody there telling them everything to do, right? Mm-hmm. So I have this person tune in, and it gets them way more invested in the process when I tell them, you're going to learn this and you're going to apply this, and I'm not going to help you with this all the time. So instantly it changes the mindset to being one of feeling like they have to step up to the plate and they are responsible for their own journey. And so I break that down into these small steps. I get them moving. And this is also when they get a taste of my training style, because I'm very meticulous about how they do those movements in the dynamic warm-up. And oftentimes the dynamic warm-up is like a workout for them. So this takes 30 minutes of me explaining, detailing, correcting, and cueing. And usually halfway through, they're going, wow, that was just a warm-up. I'm toast. This is crazy. And then we could have some time to talk about their goals, where we're going forward, the next steps, what the plan is going to look like, right? So yeah, this is kind of my approach on how I do things.
So I want to ask you, and I know this is wrong, but it's just me. I am that guy. I hate warming up. I know I have to do it, but how do you kind of help people? Like, and I'm sure you probably have people like that. I'm always that guy that I want to come there, I want to jump right in, and I want to do. But I think the way you explained it, it started to hit me was kind of like, you know what? Maybe a different shift in the mindset, as, treating the warm up almost like a part of the workout. But yes. I've always been horrible at it. I've always been horrible with warming up and then cooling down. I've always been that guy. I want to come in. If it's lifting weights, I want to lift weight. Probably why I was experiencing injuries and stuff like that. But how do you help people get through that? Because I know I worked with a trainer. Probably one of the things he had the most trouble with me was focusing me on warming up and how important it was.
Yeah. So like I said before, my warm-up is probably not like a traditional warm-up that people go through. And that's I think what is clearly different. I feel like when people understand the end goal of what you're trying to teach them, that oftentimes helps. But also when people are getting value from what you're doing. So if you don't see value in warming up, then of course you're not going to do it. Especially if this is a chest and tricep day, right? You can go under the bar, you can start doing a couple of sets to warm up right there on the bench. So why would you go and run on a treadmill or do something on elliptical, right? You don't see the correlation and you don't see the value. But my dynamic warm up that I take people through is not only movement prep for the actual workout, but there's a lot of mobility work that's built into that. So the way I approach it is I tell people like, this is going to help you stay injury free. And I also identify a few things while we're going through the warm up, like, oh, okay, like this movement here, you can tell that your hips are a bit tight, right? Yes, I can tell. Here in this movement, you can see that your back, your T-spine is not allowing you to rotate. Don't you see that? Yes, I see that. Don't you feel how your left side rotates a bit more than your right side? Can't you see? Yes. So you're getting buy-in from the client on all of these things that they need to improve upon, and how this dynamic warm-up is going to help them improve upon them if they continue to do it. So then all of a sudden it makes sense, right? It connects the dots. Like, okay, I have to do the dynamic warm-up because it helps me in this part of my fitness, even if it doesn't help me in my bench press, increase my bench press or increase my squat, which it does. But you have to, this is what I would do if I was your trainer. I would show you where you're making mistakes, show you where you have some imbalances, and then give you the solution to those things. And most of the time when people have a solution in their pocket, they're going to pull it out, right? 1 second, this window just blew up, and then close that.
Hey, no worries.
Window has a mind of its own.
The fun of live recording.
Yeah. All right, I'm back.
Yeah, no worries. No, yeah, I've gotten better with it. And I think as you were saying that, I realize, especially now, I'll be 52 in January. So it's become even more important.
Man, you look great for 52. I'm not just saying that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you got the salt and pepper. Like, your skin looks great.
Yeah, listen, I'm glad I'm where I'm at, man. Cause if you, I don't want to waste this podcast on that, but yeah, I was not here as a 47-year-old. I'm actually happy to be here. So that's why I love speaking with guys like you, because I think it's so important for people. And what you said earlier, if we can help one person, that would be great. See, as I talk to you more, I mentioned this earlier, just the thoughtfulness, the approach. So I want to touch on this because I think this is something you probably experience and you're probably doing a great job with, because I can feel already you're getting through to me. And I'm a bit of a thick-headed individual, right? A thick-headed individual, but how much, and you mentioned mindset, and I love the way you talked about approaching fitness with that mindset, because I think that's so important. How do you help people keep that mindset right? Because I do feel like that's almost, to me, my wife, who's lost a lot of weight also, she's lost over 100 pounds, and we've done it together. But when we have people ask us, like, what did you do? One thing I've started saying to her is like, listen, until that person has their mind right that they want to do it, they're not going to do it. So how do you deal with that? Because I feel like you probably may get people come to you, leave you, come back to you. Do you kind of get that yo-yo effect almost?
Yeah, you do. Oftentimes. So this is a great question. Let's try to unpack that. So like I touched on before, most people need to have some sort of intrinsic motivator to get off their ass and get moving, right? You can externally motivate people by carrot or stick, of course, which I'm pretty good at both. I prefer to work with people that, of course, are intrinsically motivated. This is why I chose to work with military athletes, people that already know their purpose. They have no problems getting up and training, because this is just one component of what they do in order to do their job quite well. Most of the population has not made this correlation that your health allows you to do what you do better or well. So oftentimes people are fishing for the reason to do something, or they're trying to avoid even the concept and the idea, and just try to act like something's like the problem's not even there. It doesn't even exist. So what I do is I kind of stay fluid with this, to be honest with you, right? I don't like pulling people into my I don't like pushing people. I'd rather pull people into my sphere of influence, just by speaking about the things that I know, speaking about the things that I understand, putting 99% of what's in my head out there for free, hoping that it helps that one person that I'm looking to help. And that's kind of my approach towards that too, is I'm not out there searching for people. I'm hoping that they find me when they're looking for the answers.
And
I want to commend you on getting up and losing all that weight, man. And also for your wife. And you were probably who lost it first, your wife or you?
I started before her, but she ended up losing it quicker. Like, and I tell her, my wife went into beast mode, T. Like she went like it just me, because I had that yo-yo effect for a long time. I lost weight here and there. I gained it back always, right? So, I mean, I'm high level. I'm only 5'5", and I was 267 pounds.
Yeah.
I was on heart medication. And, it's interesting the way you're talking about, though, because for me, I was at a point where, and I don't mean this as against anyone, there was no one who could motivate me or pull me in.
Yeah.
Because you know how we talk about looking for your why?
Yeah.
I realized something for me, T, and I hope if anybody, like for me, from my perspective, I tell people all the time, if you take anything from me, take this. It wasn't as much about my why. It was admitting and accepting that I was the why not. My why was always there. My wife, my kids, my family. The why was there. It wasn't that. I was the why not. I was the guy who stopped me from being healthy. It was me. I was the why not. So once I realized that and I said, that's done, then it allowed me to start to be pulled in to people like you. But I had that, it was a mental block. It really was. So I tell people it's the why, you're your why not. Understand that, accept it, move beyond it. And then you can allow people like yourself and all these great people to take in all that information. And until you do that, you won't.
Wow. That's powerful, man. I'm going to take that with me. This is, if you can't find your why, maybe you are the why not.
Yeah. And I was the why not. I was on heart medicine. I did a keynote before. Again, I'll send you the link, but listen, this is true. I would lie in bed at night and I would have these heart palpitations, right? See, I kid you not. I would lay there. I'd say basically roll the dice. We're going to see if I wake up tomorrow.
Wow.
I would literally stand at the bottom of my steps before coming to bed, man. And I would look around the room at the pictures of my kids and wonder if that was going to be the last time I saw them.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just, and even that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough until I realized I was the guy, so now it's become better, but my wife went into beast mode. And now that we both are kind of doing it, listen, it's not easy, but it's become, we enjoy trying to push each other. And she has her own thing she does. I'm obviously doing this and trying to talk to people like you. And I mean, as you can probably tell, like even talking to you, you get me revved up and excited. And I really, really enjoy it. So,
me too, man. I guess just hearing your success and your story. This is exactly why I do what I do, because I know that this is my purpose and the reason, and that this is the thing I'm good at and what I enjoy. It's the thing that I would give away for free. Is to help people that are a couple steps behind me and show them, hey, this is what works and this is where I made some mistakes. So to hear your story, it also motivates me, man. It also keeps me rolling. And you touched on some really, really important things there, that I think from an outsider's perspective, part of the reason why you were successful is because you finally discovered that you were your own worst enemy, right? And you removed that blockage from the equation. Your wife got on board, which was surrounding yourself with somebody else that was supportive, an accountability partner. She got you going. Maybe it was a little bit competitive too when you saw that she was kicking your ass with the weight loss. Like all these things work, right? In business, you probably already, you know this, and in health, and it's no different, right? You need to surround yourself with people that you want to be like, or that are a couple steps ahead of you or pushing you in the right direction. If you really want to accomplish something, if you want to accomplish it in a big way, if you want to be great at it, then this is necessary to do. And so all of that you've been doing has just been bringing you so much more health, wealth, great relationships, right? Like, look at everything now. So great.
Yeah. And, you mentioned something there about the competition, right? When I see someone like you online with your content, right? See, I kid you not, I watch you doing the plyo push-ups going down the ladder, right? And I'm not going to lie. I'm like, you know what? I know I'm in my 50s now. I want to be able to do that one day.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, so I think you're motivating people and you may not even realize it. Like, you're putting that stuff out there and it's so great that you're doing it, but it's having an impact. And, I want to say this to you. I've told some other people this. I think for a guy like you with your content and what you're doing, I think your journey and what you're doing is maybe more about the impact you're having on the people you have no idea about. You're going to always have the people you've impacted, T, but I think you're impacting more people than you even realize. So just know that. And I think you're doing a great job. Now, I wanted to ask you this specifically, as a lot of the people that watch this show, probably men, some women, but 40s, 50s, 60s. What would you kind of say as far as, look, if you're struggling, here's some ideas to get started, like to get you started. What I was hoping we could do today is about, and you mentioned about the pull. Is there any like tips you could kind of give that maybe someone watching this, it could start to pull them into that sphere?
Yeah, great. Another great question. And I like to write about this quite often because I think that there's a lot of people in this position. And I post polls, and I have been doing this quite often now, hoping that people answer it when I say, where are you in your fitness journey? Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you an advanced? And this is really abstract. A lot of people are just like, oh, well, what does that even mean, right? So I like to get even more specific when I post these polls. And I say, okay, a beginner is someone who looks at stairs and gets terrified. Somebody who is like, I only take the elevator. I don't even want to go up those stairs. I get winded. My knees hurt. My lower back hurts if I go up more than 2 flights of stairs. I mean, my body is a complete wreck. You're a beginner. You're not even started in your journey. Intermediate is somebody that goes, I take the stairs on occasion. If the elevator is too far, I'm not going. I park right next to the grocery store door. Like, I'm a bit lazy, but I can move a bit. I like to take walks. I may go swimming with the kids. I would call you intermediate. And advanced are people that actually are on their journey, right? Going to the gym once a week. Maybe you turn on you open the laptop and you do an online class once a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week. And if you're doing 3 times a week at the gym, you're excelling, actually. When you look at just the US population, this is a more accurate picture of where people are in their fitness journey. So I try to keep that in mind. Even though what you see are these ladder push-ups and all these things, these are aspirational posts. This is what's possible. I'm 40 years old as well. I just never took my foot off the gas pedal. And this is why I'm able to do these things. And there's a lot of steps in between to get there, but this is why I'm here. I'm here to teach you and to mold you and to guide you towards taking those steps. And if you tune into my content, then you'll see that that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to take you from 0, not 1, 0, and build you up to these ladder push-ups. And so these people that are terrified of stairs, you're probably stuck in that mental game, right? Like you were, where you're like, what's the point? What's the point of getting started? Where do I even start? I like these things too much, these comforts too much to get uncomfortable. And like I said, I'm not going to push anybody from behind. I'm just going to try to pull you. And these little nuggets that I like to try to drop to people like this is like, the first thing that has to happen is you have to decide on if a change needs to be made or not. Some people are completely happy where they are. And if they're happy, I'm happy. I got your back. I'm going to support you no matter what. I have family members, actually, that are completely happy being overweight, eating what they want, drinking, doing whatever. Okay. But they know that if they never need me, that they can knock on my door and I'm going to be there. And when they do, the first thing I'm going to do is start small, right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing you need to do is play these mental mind games with yourself, right? Everything that you've been telling yourself, you need to start to reverse that. You need to start telling yourself, I am out of shape. I am not happy with the way I look. I'm not happy with the way I feel. You need to start doing that because this is what you have not been telling yourself. And if you have been telling yourself, you've been ignoring it, right? So this has to be your affirmations in your head to get you a bit uncomfortable first. And then you need to switch that around completely and start telling yourself, I am a morning person. I am a person that enjoys working out. I am a person that enjoys taking care of my body. I am a person that feels good or feels better when I'm more active, right? All of these affirmations you have to start saying. And if you feel like it's corny or you can't get yourself to do it, then pop open Spotify and type in affirmations. And there's thousands of tracks in there that you can find that will do it for you. Right now in my business, in my career, and I listen to affirmations every morning for wealth, for health, for relationships, every morning. Still to this day, I listen to those things because it's a reaffirmation. And you need to keep telling yourself that. And one of the things I realized is that when I was playing sports, you have coaches around you every day to tell you these things. They tell you, hey, this is where you're fucking up. This is where you're terrible. Hey, this is where you did good. Hey, you're excellent in this. Hey, you're great in that. We're going to push you in that direction. You're not so great in this. So go home and work on this, right? Hey, you're doing this. You're doing this. You're doing this. You're great. You're great. You're great. And then, boom, all of a sudden you have no coaches. You're not playing sports anymore and it's gone. Who's there? You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be your own coach. And you got to find that inspiration and that source from somewhere. So if you're not going to tell yourself these things in your own head, then you have to find somebody that's going to feed this to you. And it's so powerful, man. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I thought it was corny too, but it is so powerful every day to have that speaker shouting at you, you can do it. You are destined. You are worth it. You can have more. You need more. You can get more, right? Like it's so powerful. And that is the very first thing, right? You got to fix it up here. And the next thing I would do is I call it look good, feel good, play good, right? Mm-hmm. Go out, buy a new pair of sneakers for the gym or for your run or for your walks, right? Because you're going to feel really shitty if you pay $150 for a nice pair of shoes and they just sit there collecting dust, right? Most people, if you hit them in the pocket or the wallet, it gets them moving a little bit, right? So go buy that nice pair of shoes with the intention of using them. Go buy some fresh new Nike gear for the gym or for outdoors or for whatever sport you guys want. You want to swim? Go get some fresh new goggles and some swimming trunks, right? Go get a pass to the local swimming pool. Like invest actually before you even get started, and it's going to start to pull you in that direction. Set those shoes right by the door, right by the bed, wherever it is, so you have to look at them whenever you get up, right? I have alarms set in my iPhone also that have titles on them, right? Like I have a 5 a.m. that says, I know this sucks, but get up anyway, right? My 6 a.m. alarm says, hey, if you're not getting up, somebody else is, and they're going to beat you to it, right? My 7 o'clock, and I set these alarms and I have a mission and a goal and a focus on all of these things, right? So this is also something I do. So I'm constantly trying to feed myself these affirmations and these nuggets and these words of wisdom to keep myself going and keep myself motivated. You got to do this stuff, especially in the beginning when nobody's there to pull you. Nobody's there to push you. You got to do it yourself. Put the system in place.
And I think what you just did there is going to help a lot of people, because I think when people see a guy like you, who I think we just make it, especially when I was out of shape, I would see guys like you and I would just assume like how easy it was. I think what you just did though is, and I think it's really good, you show this reality about things that it does take work. And even someone like you who's successful with it, it's not just hand it to you. You have to work at it. And I don't know if you noticed, but I was really smiling, almost giggling when you were mentioning about buying new sneakers.
You did this.
Funny story. I had started before my wife. My wife was finally ready to start. Day one, she didn't start because she couldn't find her sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have this thing we always say, and she posts about it a lot, is I'm glad I found my sneakers.
Yeah.
I couldn't, I thought that was funny you were saying it. Last thing I want to say before I let you know where people can connect with you is I wanted to ask you, it's something you just mentioned, and I think it's going to help people. You gave a perception, I mean, not even perception. I think you painted a reality of what excellence looks like that may seem more attainable to people. You mentioned 3 times a week. I think sometimes it scares people. They go, why start? Because it's going to take me 7 days a week to do anything. So could you maybe just talk a little bit about, in reality, how much that helps, and that being excellent isn't necessarily like 7 days a week, 24/7?
Yeah. Very good question. And I'm happy to speak about this. So, scientifically, we've already proven that it doesn't take much actually to get results from fitness. If you're short on time or you can't find the motivation to go often to the gym, again, Kaizen, start small, right? There are apps on the App Store called the 7-minute workout, and people laugh at it, right? Like, oh, 7-minute workout. Like, what is that going to do? Also scientifically proven that you can get results by working on 7 minutes a day. In fact, there was a study that recently came out and showed that in as little as 3 minutes a day, you can see benefits from actually working out. But the key is it's not about the length of the workout. It's about the intensity of the workout, right? So intense action brings results. What does that mean for somebody who's just starting out, just a beginner? For you, what could be intense is just going up those stairs. Just deciding once you drive home after your commute to take the stairs instead of the elevator is already increasing the intensity of your activity and your actions. So that small step is already one step forward. And imagine what that does to people mentally. If for the past 7 years, they've taken the same elevator to their apartment, and all of a sudden they change their routine and start going up the stairs, it's a disruptive force in your life. All of a sudden, it's disruptive. And this can change the game for you because you've made a choice. I'm going to do something different. You feel the impact, not only mentally, but also physically, because now you're going up these stairs, right? So that is the beginning. That's the spark that can then become a flame. This is the inspiration that can get you moving in the right direction, right? This is what has to happen. And if I can encourage anybody to do that, just start there. And then start gradually going from, I'm going to go up those stairs, to I'm going to go up the stairs multiple times. Now that I'm going up those stairs, I'm going to go buy that new pair of shoes that's going to feel better going up those stairs. Now I'm going to start going, I'm going to go buy some workout clothes. Now I'm going to go around the building once and then go up the stairs, right? So you keep adding just one more micro step or one more micro goal, right? When I help people that smoke cigarettes, there's no cold turkey. It's like, let's just smoke one less a day, right? And now that we're smoking one less a day, let's go two less a day. Let's go 3 less a day. Okay. Now we're down from 2 packs to 1 pack, and then you just take it step by step by step, right? So that's what you do. These small micro goals, keep your eyes on the prize, which is just the next small goal, not this big goal. I want to lose 20 pounds. Just go up the stairs.
Man, your approach is inspiring, and I think this is going to resonate and help some people too. So I'm really, really appreciative that you were able to give me some time today. I'll end with this. Where can people find you? People that don't know about you, I would love them to be able to. And I'll put stuff in the show notes. But where can they see your content and maybe get in touch with you if need be?
Cool. Thanks so much for having me on and for allowing me to plug some stuff. Yeah, so my new website is Sqwod Life, spelled SQWOD.life. So there's no .com, www.sqwodlife. And if you go there, the different ways I can help you. One, my newsletter that goes out every Saturday. I speak about fitness and the business of fitness. Hopefully I'm helping people increase their IQ in both. The second way I can help you is you can download my fitness app called Sqwod, also available in the iOS and the App Store. We touched on a couple of these things today. This app is focused on the science, or based upon the science, of H.I.R.T training, high intensity resistance training, which is a lot like HIIT training, but with more weights and resistance. It's cool that we're talking about this because a lot of your audience, this will probably be interesting to them. In your 40s and your 50s and 60s, right? You have less time, less energy, lower testosterone. You're probably looking to burn some body fat and keep some muscle on. And as am I. I was looking for short, efficient workouts that were going to keep me in shape so I could spend more time with my 2 kids that are under 5. So I developed out Sqwod. And the workouts are all 15 minutes to 30 minutes. They're short, they're intense, they're compound movements. They move the body around in multiple different ways. Tons of different home-based equipment. There's bands, there's dumbbells, there's kettlebells. There's a lot of body weight stuff, of course, that is in there. So I think this is it's a phenomenal product. You can schedule workouts. You can build the workouts out. I have over 150 exercises in there. So it's very simple, plug and play. Choose a workout, hit the random button if you don't know what you're doing. Hopefully I've built this to be something that true beginners can use and start with. So that's the second way I can help you. Third way I can help you is I do one-on-one consultations. If anybody is really ready for a deep dive into something structured and personalized, I can help you out on a one-on-one basis. And then 4, if you're based here in Berlin, come on and see me. We're at the Sqwod Pod. It's a small private studio that you can rent on demand by the hour. So you can train alone, with friends, or with a personal trainer. You can even book me and I can go in there and help you out.
Wow, that's really cool stuff. I hope people check it out. I'm going to definitely check out the app, as I'm always looking to add new things at this point to keep it fresh. So I'm definitely going to check that out myself. Well, T, again, thank you. I'm glad over all these years to finally be able to not just meet you virtually, but to actually have a conversation. It was very enlightening to me, and you did not disappoint. You are an extremely authentic individual, and I think your motivation is in the right place as you're trying to help people. And I can't thank you enough. So it's been a pleasure.
Mr. Wallace, thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the invite. Again, this is always a pleasure to speak with people that I've helped, and hopefully we can reach some. Not hopefully. I know we're going to reach a lot of people with this podcast, and it's going to be really great. So can't wait to put it out there into the universe.
Same here. Everybody who's tuned in, thank you very much. And I hope you benefit from this. I'm sure you will. And please be sure to check out T Major Fitness. Trust me, you won't regret it. Take care, everyone. Bye.
This has been the Bare Essentials. Thanks for listening. And remember, never hibernate on your goals.